In this video, we're going to create a new compass with new artwork in the Northstar navigation system. To get started, go to the Game Object Northstar Create window and dock that wherever you'd like. This window will show all of your navigation bars, compasses, and radars that you have in the project. These are stored in the Prefabs Resources folder, and they do have to be in the Resources folder to operate properly. While you can create one of these from scratch, it's often easier just to duplicate one of the existing objects and then customize it to your needs. You may want to duplicate one that matches what you're looking to achieve, or just duplicate one and then go to town on customizations. Let's go ahead and duplicate Compass 1, and now we have Compass 17 down here. When we focus on the Northstar menu, Compass 17 will appear there, and we can load that in and replace the existing compass in the scene itself. Now, we haven't changed anything yet, so Compass 17 looks exactly like Compass 1. So let's go ahead and modify this. Let's open this up in the prefab view, and here we can see that the object has these children under it. Each one of these children has a compass icon component on it, and they're listed here in the preset objects as well. While you can modify these values here, it's likely easier just to modify the values here on the main compass or radar component. You can turn these on and off to see what each one looks like. You might want to keep the layers and just change the icons around the images, or you might want to create new objects. If you do create new objects under this and you expect them to be part of the system, make sure you do add a compass icon script onto them, and then they will show up in this presets objects list as well. Now let's start with this north point object here. This is this outside circle, and inside it has a gem as well. In this compass, it intends to always point north. You can see that because north point is set to always point north. On the image component, we see that we're using this backstone image, which comes with the project. The project comes with a whole lot of images that you can use if you'd like, or you can import your own in order to use them. Let's start by replacing the north point image with this image here, and I'm going to rename this as well. And since this has been saved as a prefab, I'm going to unpack the prefab completely here so I can delete the gem. Next, I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to call this front glass. I'm going to put this front ring ornate on top of that. And this is where you can also resize things to fit your needs. Now we can see the two new objects that we've created, the back outer ring and the front glass here. I'm going to set these both to do not move. That way the objects just don't move at all. And we still have this location circle and this player centered icon. So let's handle the location circle first. I'm going to change the location circle to have this metal spike, and we can make the metal spike a little smaller here as well. The location circle is also a prefab, so let's go ahead and unpack that completely and remove this gem. So the location circle is currently set to point at a target. Since this is a needle, I'm going to set this to say point north. And then let's rename this to be called North Needle. And now we have this player centered. I don't think we need this player centered at all, so I'm going to delete this entirely. And now we have a compass that has sort of a glassy top, this inner border, and one needle that points north. So now let's add an additional layer underneath that has a background for this compass. Again, the project comes with a lot of options here, but you can create your own and import them. Now that I've looked through these images, I realize that this icon likely does both the silver border and provides the background, which might be a more ideal use case for this. So let's go ahead and select the back outer ring, and we'll replace the image here. The front glass is a little less blue than the background, and so we can change the settings here to match it a little bit better. And we can do the same with the needle. Let's go ahead and exit out of this, and we'll save the prefab. Since we've already brought that into the scene, it's ready to go. We can press play. Now we can see all the icons on the compass itself, and we can see that the needle is actually not pointing north. When we're looking at north, straight ahead, it is. When we move to the right, it should be going to the left. We can fix that by going back to the compass here and setting the invert rotation option to true on the needle. Don't forget to apply the overrides on the prefab. And now the needle is pointing north as we turn left and right in the game. If your compass is too large or too small, you can always adjust the scale. And if you adjust the scale of the parent, the scale of the children will be adjusted as well. Now this won't save at runtime, so if you do find a position and scale you like, go ahead and copy the component and then paste that once you exit out of runtime. Now we do have all of these objects appearing on the compass itself. We have the wolves, the berries, and at the edge we have these targets. They don't get closer, they're set to always stay at the edge of the compass. If you select the compass during runtime, you'll see all of these tracked icons, and you can see the distances, how they're set, and you can select both the icons and the objects they're being tracked as well. Now, if we look at our demo targets, we see that we have the tracked target compass radar script. This is where you can set the tracking type and also the icon used. For the demo targets, our tracking type is point at target, while the wolves and others are relative point. Relative point means it will move around on the compass relative to the center, which is the player, while pointing at target means it will just rotate to point towards the target. If we look at this icon here, the point at target icon, we see that the icon is actually offset from the center. And that's how we achieve the effect that the icon is always at the edge. The icon is actually at the center, but the visual element of the icon is further out and therefore at the edge. If you want to modify that, you could just copy this icon, name it appropriately, update it as you'd like, where in this case we'll just bring it a little bit more to the center, and we'll change the color as well to be perhaps green. Go ahead and save that. On your objects, then simply select the new one. I'm going to set it only on this one demo target, and then we see that this one demo target is now green while the others are still the white. If you visit infinitypbr.com, you can check out the scripting documentation, navigate to the Northstar system, runtime overrides, and the compass radar, and you can see some documentation about how you can customize some of the values at runtime to highlight, hide, or otherwise manage icons on the compass and radar. That's how you set up a new compass, and now this is in the scene, so you can easily select it just by clicking this button. Have a great day.